Right. In the world of work, proud to now, gratuity was a thing. Like everybody wanted to stay in an organization for gratuity. If I stay 10 years, I'm giving this amount of money. And pension scheme also came from those kind of things to aid retention.
True.
Yeah.
In fact,
But
that's how our parents.
exactly. But Gen Z will walk up to you and tell me, HR, I don't want gratuity. I don't want pension. Time value for money. The future you are helping
want
me
to drive
save.
Benz.
God bless you. The future you are helping me save money for is already happening. The value for that money is being eroded. I don't want to retire and now start thinking about what do I want to do. I am already thinking about it now that I'm 28.
Good day to everybody, and you're welcome to another episode of Live Moments with Timi. It's a great joy to introduce my guest today. She's no other person than an award-winning HR executive, a career coach, and a leader in her field. I want you to join me and welcome Adewunmi Alphonso. You're welcome. Popularly known as your HR lady.
Thank you so much.
It's good to have you. I want us to quickly just start off with a brief, like your background. Just give us a brief roundup of how your childhood was and school, and then we can kick off from there.
All right, so thank you for inviting me. A bit about my background. Yes, so I am a first and only daughter of a family of three kids, and my parents. So yes, it comes with the pressure of being an only daughter, first born in a Nigerian Yoruba home. You know how that looks like, right? So there was a lot of, well, I won't say pressure, but encouragement to do better, be better. And that, I would say, puts me on the right foot. So I always wanted to be the perfect example of a sister and all of that. My parents, I'll say, low to middle class people, really. And yes, that was how we started. I was sent to school. And yes, from being in primary school, secondary to university, Great Ife, BSc, MSc, and the rest is history. We are here today.
Very proud people.
I know, right?
But it's all good. Okay, so I've always seen HR as the bad guy, and when you guys are the bad guy, you are not on our side, because when you say we are on your side, like the employees you are always on the side of the employer, not even the company, because he that pays the piper determines the two. So what do you have to say about that, HR as a field and as a space?
Okay, so there's a lot of misconception about the HR space. Imagine you are caught between the devil and the deep blue sea.
Okay.
Right? You are supposed to be the one advocating for the people, as well as also helping the business manage the people resources. So there's never a time where you have a perfect balance, or where employers will feel like they're supporting your people, employees will see you like, oh, they are for the management. But one thing I always say in my career is, as an HR professional, always have a head for business and the heart for people, and that would always help you find the right balance. Head for business, heart for people, because sometimes people don't also know what is best for them, or rather, maybe they would always just want things in their favor. At the same time, an employer also is in business to make money. So they are also looking out for their own interests. So HR is to find the balance, the sweet spot between those two extremes.
Okay, so
yes, we are not the bad guy.
So let me jump into the question that's been making rounds. Everybody, or every other week on social media, you see a trend about a Gen Z and how they react in the workspace. What is really this issue with Gen Z and work-life balance?
Okay, so the world of work has moved. There's no doubt about that. And where the contention comes is people are not ready to see that shift has happened. Right. Gen Zs have come to the world of work, and the way they do things, the way they see things is quite different from the older, the way we used to do things in the past. Right. In the workforce, we have a blend of different generations, from the baby boomers to the Gen X to the millennials, the Gen Zs, and now even the Gen Alphas that are coming. And with each generation comes the way they see things, the way they want things to be done. I mean, the Gen Zs were born in the tech generation, where everything is faster, everything is smoother. They want work-life balance. They don't understand why everything has to be rigid. Why are you trying to micromanage me? It's for you to see I'm productive. Whether I'm doing your job in the gym or in the cinema shouldn't be your business, right? And they're coming into a workforce that is used to formal structures and systems and all of that. And for me, I say the best way to achieve your objective as a business owner is being able to understand the language of each generation and navigating their peculiarities, their strengths, bringing them together to work to your advantage. For example, the Gen Zs are tech-driven, they bring new ideologies, new thinking, and they are fast into the world of work. The baby boomers and the Gen X, right, they are the structured people. They would stay with you. Retention is higher with those category of people. So how then do you blend the two things? And whether you like it or not, the generations are actually influencing themselves in the world of work. Gen Zs and baby boomers are beginning to see that this work is getting done, whether it's the structured setting or otherwise, the work is still being done. So it is now HR's responsibility to look at your workforce demography. What is the largest population of people that I have? And what are my policies to manage these people? Let me share a particular example I love to use a lot. Right. In the world of work, prior to now, gratuity was a thing. Like everybody wanted to stay in an organization for gratuity. If I stay 10 years, I'm giving this amount of money. And pension scheme also came from those kind of things to aid retention.
That's how our parents.
Yeah. But exactly. But Gen Z will walk up to you and tell me, HR, I don't want gratuity. I don't want pension. Time value for money. The future you're helping me save. God bless you. The future you're helping me save money for is already happening. The value for that money is being eroded. I don't want to retire and now start thinking about what do I want to do. I am already thinking about it now that I'm 28. Exactly. So give me that money. Exactly. Let me start sowing into my future. But I mean, a lot of organizations, even the country that I live in at the moment, still feels like, okay, let's help you save for the future. Other generations in the workforce, it makes sense for them. Like, I have something to fall back on. But Gen Zs are saying, no, give me that money now. Let me start building my own startup that I will retire to. So it's a wake-up call for we people practitioners, HR professionals, to begin to think the demography in the workforce that I manage, what do they want? And that's where employee engagement comes in. You can't be an HR manager for a tech company, for example, and the average age for your workforce is maybe 33, 35, and you are still running a gratuity scheme. Trust me, if you ask them, they'll tell you, I can't promise you 1 year. I can only promise you whatever time I am here, I will give you the best of my efforts. So it is up to you to make the best of it and put systems in place to manage that process, aside forcing things down their throats, so to say.
Okay. So, well, beyond that now, we see there's, you have touched on it where you talked about every generation comes with its own peculiarities. But we see As an HR person, how do you manage especially the behavior changes around the Gen Z, the issue of things like a quick call to mental health? This is not overlooking that a lot of them maybe have all those things, but every small thing, everybody is throwing the mental health card. Yes, you're hearing things like I'm anxious, I can't really handle it right now, I don't know, I'm depressed. And there's tasks to be done, there are things to be done, there are deliverables, and you are not meeting up. How are you guys coping as HR professionals?
Okay, so I'll say it boils down to communication and engagement, basically. So I've managed a Gen Z before, and somebody that is life of the party and all of that comes to work very moody, everything, dropping the ball and all of that. And I'm like, babe, what's going on? This is not you. And she tells me my boyfriend broke up with me, served me breakfast, blah, blah, blah. Ideally, as HR, in my mind, I'm like, I didn't sign up for this. This is not
coming.
I get right, but I could understand what she was going through at that point, and whatever I was saying would just be like noise, and it would be as if I'm not being empathic, and I'll only be adding to her mental stress at that time. So she wasn't useful for me. So even if I decided to give her a query for not doing what I asked her to do or whatnot, it's helping nobody. So I just was like, okay, you're not in the right frame of mind. What can I do to help? And she was like, she just had to come to work. She didn't want to be given query. I'm like, okay, what will make you feel better? I can't provide the answer. Only her knows. And she was like, can I go home? Whatever I need to do, I promise by 6 p.m., maybe I'll feel better and I will do it. But what's my timeline? And I told her, I'm like, these things, I need to send them out tomorrow. So I would wait up and expect them. Can you get it across to me by 9 latest? She was like, no, she'll even get it across to me by 8. And I'm like, okay, go. Trust me, by 7:30, I had gotten those documents. And that little relationship, that little engagement with her totally changed the way we worked, changed the dynamics of things. She didn't have to, typical people lie to me to say, oh, this is the issue. Some days she'll just walk up to me and say, oh, ma'am, can I take tomorrow off? Remove it from my leave. I say, what's going on? Then she tells me, she says, I know it's a silly excuse, but it's my boyfriend's birthday. I need to do this. It's important to her. And that is why leave days are there. So my business.
I do envy you.
For me, really, is what is the goal for me? Get the job done. And that is where I don't mix things up. Whether you're taking a sick off to go and christen your cat or go and bury your grandmother's dog, my own focus is I have deliverables, I have timeline. How are we meeting
about
this?
Productivity.
100%. I really cannot be bothered about all of those other things.
But how do we balance this now with an employer that is used to the 9 to 5 street? In fact, 9 to 5 is not 9 to 5. 9 to 5 is 9 to 8 because you have to wait for the boss to leave. How do you now balance this up, bringing a Gen Z into the mix and being able to communicate this way or mode of operations now with the Gen Z and also with the boss that is coming from the 1960s?
Absolutely. So the shift has already started happening, whether you like it or not. And organizations are moving from being rigid with the policies and procedures and more focused on productivity. So for example, where I work, we've introduced some form of flexible work options. I have people that are not even Gen Zs, that are maybe millennials and are very productive in the evening. I, for one, am a very productive person in the morning. If you ask me to start resuming to work 4 a.m. in the morning, I'll be there. And I'll be all smiles. My 32 will be out. But I cannot...
As long as you can close early.
God bless you. But I cannot force that style on everybody. I have colleagues in the office that when I'm greeting them by 9, they are still very grumpy and all of that. But when I'm dusting my own bag by 4 p.m., that is when they are ready to unleash. But there also has to be structures and balances. That is where labor law comes in, that says, okay, your contract says you work 40 hours a week. Make up that 40 hours. So if you come in early, I allow you leave early. If you come in late, it means you will close late. Putting those structures and systems. But now that there is also the balance between work-life balance is no longer balanced, has now become work-life integration, and that is where we need to focus. You as an employer or an HR manager, so you are convenient or okay with picking up your phone on a Saturday or a Sunday when there's a work emergency to tell the employees to please quickly jump on this, help me quench this fire, help me fix this problem. But then you have a problem with letting the person close early to go and meet up some parental obligations. Then you are selfish. So it is
but that's how it works most times, especially in the Nigerian space that I know of. I cannot speak for some other space.
That is why HR leaders need to begin to train cultural reorientation, begin to learn. The future of work is already happening, whether you like it or not. And that is why quite a number of people have a problem with Gen Zs, because a Gen Z will put it to you that if I put it together, you said my contract is 40 hours. You called me on Saturday. I have to complete the project on Sunday. Who is counting the 40 hours? But then you have a problem when I need to close early, or I have a problem in traffic and I get to work late. So HR managers, employers, business leaders, we need to begin to think differently. Yes, it is important that you put structures and processes in place to manage these things, because yes, people would also try to abuse them.
People will take the piece, yeah.
Yeah, so you have structures to say that, okay, we have a flexible work. What are you signing off on? Not that today you are early, tomorrow you are late. Next tomorrow you are closing early, next tomorrow. No. But even when you have such emergencies, what is the process? So that it is clear. When you step outside of these clear lines, that is where we have a problem. But we need to begin to look differently. Most of deals are being closed outside of the 40 hours of work. Most of business deals are being closed. Yes. Most of people's productive work are probably being done outside your formal structures. So how do you begin to compensate for these things and put a balance in it? Especially now that there's a lot of talent mobility. Somebody is living in Ojuelegba and they work for a company seated in Texas. Or somebody is living in the UK and they work for a company in Nigeria. So all of those things, employers, leaders, everybody needs to begin to look at it differently. What is my business? What's my focus? What's my goal? This is what is happening in the world of work that I'm in. How do I begin to ensure that my systems and processes help me attract the right people and keep them? And the first step is having a realization that work is no longer business as usual. So you need to begin to adapt and move fast and keep learning every day. Yeah,
exactly. It keeps morphing. What I'm hearing now is that we have to put structures and systems in place to make sure that people we can work around the schedules and the productivity level of the workspace in general. Because I've always said this thing. I worked in the design and I still work in the design space for a very long time. And I'm still working there. And I've noticed that a 15-minute nap will make me productive for the next 4 hours.
Absolutely.
But you don't let me take that 15-minute nap. So I will spend the next 2 hours grumpy and trying to get myself together and not be at full optimum production, which if you had given me that just a 30 minutes quick dive. So you see, the design office started had a thinking couch, had like a lounge that people could just go and do all that, just to make sure that you can come back and you are focused and you can go straight into the work. But some people are just like, when they see you sleeping, it's like you're wasting their money.
I know.
I'm telling you, it's like you're wasting your money. You know, the one that even vexes me is where it's 5 p.m. I'm supposed to close. I'm on the island. I'm talking for people in Lagos, Nigeria. I'm on the island. I'm coming to the mainland. If I don't leave at the break of 5 p.m., I'm going to get home maybe 9 p.m., 9:30, 10 p.m.
Absolutely.
And I want to stand up, but my boss is in the office and I can't leave, because if I stand up, I am seen as irresponsible. But I came early, I did my time till 5 p.m., but because I left 5 p.m., you are irresponsible.
So what you just said now reminded me of one of my early jobs, right? So when I started working with the company, the first 1 week, everybody was looking at me weirdly. So I was wondering, see, one of them said, 5 o'clock managers. And it got me thinking. So I approached someone to say, okay, she said this, what does it mean? She was like, oh, everybody has been whispering that, the company had been existing for about 50 years then, that everybody waits. Like a function of your productivity is those that stay late, come on weekends. I'm like, doing what exactly? At some point, I started feeling bad. Like, but it's not my person. I started feeling bad. So one day I told myself I was going to come on a Saturday to see what you people are doing, because it didn't make sense to me. Then I came that Saturday. I got to work. I went to sit with the chair lady of people that close late, come Saturday, come Sunday. And she was working on an Excel document. And what she was doing that was taking 4-5 hours, I could do it in 20 minutes with just the understanding of the simple Excel functions. And I'm like, sorry, how long do you do this for? She was like, you roll out the letters one after the other. I'm like, what? What happened to mail merge? She was like, you are rolling letters out for 1,000 employees. I'm like, okay, so what? I will do this in less than 20 minutes. She was like, it's not possible. So I showed it to her. Then it dawned on me that people were actually just posting, putting up impressions like they were working. Some of them were actually working, but the people that were working were doing it out of a skill gap, not because there was something that the work than that. If you have done a proper workforce planning, you would already have an idea of how long it takes to do some kind of work, right? Especially when you are operating at a minimum of 70 to 80% skill level. So it will take a period of hours. Anything that is making things that get extended, people are burning out, or all of those things, there's a problem. I now found out that beyond that person, so I identified one reason why people did it was skill gap. They didn't have the skills to do it faster. Another reason was that they were just trying to make an impression with the boss. The boss that you were trying to keep an impression with.
The eye service factor.
Right? And as a millennial that I was, I mean, that was early when I was going into starting my career. So we were, the way people look at Gen Zs now was the way people looked at millennials then. So I walked up to my boss and said, sorry, I want to clarify. Do you always need us to wait till you go? And everybody, you could feel the pin drop in the room because it was an open office plan. When I said, sorry, ma, do we need to wait for you to go before we can go home? Or when we are done with our work, we can go. And I could hear the silence. And she looked at me,
like,
looked down,
what she
looked at me again, but she couldn't say it because it made sense. I mean, somebody is asking, do you need me to wait till you go? Or I can go when my work is done and it's closing time. So she couldn't say, wait for me to go, because that doesn't even make sense. So she was like, hey, once your work is done, you can go. But let me know when you're going, so I'm not looking for you. Makes sense. So everybody just looked at, these children of nowadays. Great. But because they were clearly spelled out deliverables, that is where one of the ways you can also curb such things. You asked me to prepare 10 documents before the day runs out. I have prepared the 10 documents by my closing time of 5. Why am I still there? We had agreed. So I walk up to you to say, ma, 10 documents sent to you, blah, 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 blah. Do you need me to do any other thing? I'm having this conversation by 4:30. And she goes, oh, no, once it's 5, you can go. So by the time it was time for promotion and all of that, everybody knew. And also there are other legs to it, understanding office dynamics, working your way around office politics, and all of those things. But by the time it was promotion period, I had took my on where required. So all those looking at people from the 5 o'clock manager leg, no, everybody was assessing me from the point of, can she do the job, yes or no? So I was getting my promotions and there were no issues. So it is important that you demystify that 5 o'clock or no 5 o'clock thing. Even now as a business lead, people know I'll probably be the first person in and I'll be the first person out. Human beings, professionals are beyond their decks. I am beyond my role. I have a life. I am a 360 being. I am a mom. I am a wife. I am a sister. I am a daughter. And I am also an employee.
A professional.
Yes. So there is every aspect of my life that needs to be serviced within 24 hours. Exactly. And for me to give you my best, then other areas of my life must not be cut short. So I am not burnt out, or I am not sad or mentally depressed because another important area of my life is suffering. So employers need to begin to look at it. Is when an employer show that you care about this other aspect of my life. That is when also above and beyond. If you are giving me time to attend to my sick child during your own hours, then during my family time too, I will make out time to attend to your emergencies. But you cannot say, I can't touch your minutes, but you can touch mine, and you expect the best. And yeah, employers will say that, oh, do you know the number of people that are looking for a job? I tell them, a lot of people are looking for a job, but a lot of talents are not short of choices. People, talents, two different things. A lot of people are looking for jobs, but talents are not short of choices. So the kind of talent you want to achieve your business goal is not somebody that is looking for just any job. It's somebody that knows the value that they bring on board and also knows the importance of having integration or synergy in every other aspect of their life. So those are not the kind of people you can threaten with taking their job away.
Exactly.
So if you say there are lots of people looking for a job, the level of competence you would also find with a lot of people, you will realize that it doesn't make sense.
I've noticed employers don't put that into perspective. They don't put into the fact that you have even trained somebody on the job to work within your system and your structure in a certain manner. You let the person go, you bring in somebody else that you need to now train for a couple of years or a couple of months before that person is productive at the level of the person that just left.
I always say,
and they don't put it.
When a talent now, I'm always using the word talent because there are some people that are employees of the organization that unfortunately when they resign or they say they are leaving, you probably just call a band and say, thank you, Jesus. You did it before I did it. Those are not the people I'm talking about your talents. When your talents leave, and people will leave for whatever reasons, but when your talents leave, you are not only losing money in terms of replacement cost. Most of the time you are not even able to replace at the same salary point as that person. You're also losing institutional knowledge, because if a new person comes, no matter how gifted they are, they need a minimum of 6 months to fully settle into that job and begin to perform at a minimum of 65% level. They need a minimum of 6 months. And while you are not calculating their settling down period, but you are losing money, you are losing things, which eventually in business language, everything can be calculated in terms of naira and kobo. So you need to look at it properly. Make sure that your employees or your talents are ambassadors of your organization. And the same way, they need to be thinking about your company, see themselves as a part of your organization. You need to make room for them. Actually, for companies, most companies in Nigeria, they don't have stock options. They don't have shares.
Okay.
So why do you expect?
When is his wife and his children that are the board members and
it's even a salary that you say they take home that cannot take them to the bus stop. Talk less of home. So what exactly?
That's a good one.
It won't get to the bus stop. Talk less of taking them home. So it's not a take home, it's a take bus stop.
It's a take bus stop.
So you need to find that balance. You need not to be selfish. Whatever expectation you have of your people, your employees, you as an employer, you have your own obligations to stand up to at the same time. It's a give and take situation.
That's the difference with a lot of other countries of the world, especially in Europe, where you come in at the time you're supposed to come in. And you pick up yourself immediately after you're done. They don't even look at you strangely. They see it as, in fact, when you're overstaying, it's like, what's happening? I think you should leave. And for Nigerians that I know of that have migrated, they find it difficult sometimes to even blend into those kind of space at first, because they wait. You see them waiting. They try to understand it. Then, even when, let me give you a clear example, like. You know the way in Nigeria that when you say, sometimes you call in and you say you're sick, your boss say, just come to the office. Let me see you first. People come into the office because they'll be like, maybe you're lying. So you come in, so people come in to just a show of the gesture. They come in, then they'll be like, oh, we sent him home. That, oh, there's no need. We know you as a trustworthy person, there's no need. But they've seen you. and they see it as a valuable thing. Like, oh, he came in even though he was tired. In the UK, they see it as a very stupid thing.
I actually
like, why
agree.
would you come in when you're sick? Why would you come in? So I think there's a cultural thing in the Nigerian system too.
Yes. That's why I said
HR
leaders, business leaders, they need to begin to do a cultural reorientation. And things are changing. The world of work is moving. We are competing for talents with international organizations, multinationals. So you need to begin to look at things differently. I remember an employer, an MD of a company I was consulting for at the time, once told me that, can you imagine in this situation we are in, an employee is sending me a leave form, telling me that his grandmother is died. He wants to go for the burial. Will he be in the burial, resurrect the grandmother when we are in a crisis? And in my mind, I'm just like,
joking.
You are the devil himself. I'm like, what?
I say, what do you mean? Will his own mom or grandmom?
So it didn't make sense to him, and that's the selfish leg of things. So when also employees are not being loyal to some organization, as much as I'm HR, in my mind I'll just tell them that you don't expect from other people what you are not willing to give to them. It's in the balance. I mean, you need to whatever you give, be able to extend the same grace to the people. For me, if you've given me time to meet all the obligations of my life, you have the liberty, you have the license to pick up your phone and now call me outside of my workplace and then say, okay, I need you to get on something or something, because I also know you care about this other aspect of my life. Then there's a balance to things and all of that. And also, from experience, I also found out that, so when you talk to me and you say, I've not been able to go on leave in the last 2 years or something, I just look at you funny. In fact, when I'm interviewing you and you tell me one of those things, maybe I ask you why you want to leave your current employer and say, I don't have time to rest. Can you imagine in the last 2 years, I've not gone on leave and all of those stuff? I just smile. For me, it's a red flag. It's a major red flag. Explain. So part of leadership is your ability to manage yourself. If you are unable to get leave for yourself, if you are unable to manage your responsibilities, your workload, to go on leave that is usually, say what in Nigeria, 20 to 25 days, at most 30 days in a calendar year, 365, you cannot take, or at minimum, if you had 30 days or 25 days, you could not manage to take 10 days or 5 days to yourself in a year, then you have a problem with managing yourself. So I cannot trust you to not lead the people I want you to manage astray.
So don't you think sometimes it's just the place of a crazy employer?
So some employers are very narcissist and irresponsible. That's important. But at a particular level, so if you tell me that as a junior person, I understand, but I want to hire you for a senior level role, and you do not yet have the courage to speak up to your management, to say,
so it tells a lot about you.
Like,
and your
for me,
even
if my organization is going through fire, if I would tell you that, okay, the owner of the company or the MD is a narcissist, what I expect to be hearing is that we have maybe 30 days leave, but everybody on my team has only been able to go for 7 days or 5 days. And that even took a lot of bargaining and all of that. What happened to the point of saying, okay, let them take 5 days, the remaining 5 days, let them work remotely. They are working, but at least they are working from their vacation, negotiating things out, finding the solution. Or what happened to using data to show the owner of the company what the company is losing by keeping them there? Do you know that a sizable amount, I don't want to put statistics to things, of fraud that happen in organization happen on seats of people that refuse to go on leave? Not because there's so much workload, but because they are trying to cover up something on that desk. So they shield it from there's so much work to do because they don't want to open it up.
If they leave, there's a vacuum.
And in the employer's mind, the employer feels like, oh, they are so dedicated to him. No, they are killing your business. Then apart from that, so there's a fraudulent leg of things. While you are giving your own 300, the owner of the company, I can bet my credentials, my Nigerian credentials on it to say that the owner of the company has gone on leave. Maybe not all of it, but the owner of the company has taken vacation in every year. So, my dear, who are you exactly?
Sometimes every quarter.
So, who are you?
Sometimes every quarter.
Who are you to that company that you decided not to go on leave?
Are you the lifeline?
I wonder. Are you the breath that is making them leave? So even if you are not able to take all, you should have been able to take some. So people are either sitting on fraud. Also, what happened to their mental health? Sometimes I don't need the vacation. I just feel like I want to be in my house for the next 3 days. I don't want to wake up early. I want to wake up when I like. And I want to be in my house, go around.
You want to be around the ones you love.
One of my managers once asked me to say, you are going on leave. Are you traveling? I said, no. So why are you going on leave? I said, because I like the 4 walls of my house. And I just want to go take a look at it. It's my entitlement. I don't really need to explain what I'm doing with my good days to you. But leaders, especially HR professionals, show the numbers. I once did a work for, I consulted for a company and I did a particular task for them to say, you say your business will suffer when people go on leave. Let me show it to you. So I told their HR professionals to spool me a record of sick offs that had been submitted in the last 6 months. Eventually, the data showed that employees had ended up taking more than their approved number of leave days under sick off.
By sick off.
So you don't approve leave for them.
But you don't want to hear what? We will show you.
When the MD of the company saw it, he was like, Shebi, you don't want to approve the leave. They come today, they are vomiting. Then they go for 2 days. The next day, eventually it's a mess. The days that they are in the office, they are not productive. Then they are costing you more money. Your insurance, your medical insurance cost is higher than your competition. Because people are actually breaking down. Manufacturing company, you see somebody on the floor operating night shift, then he dozes off and puts his hand in the machine. Then you are fighting PR crisis. You are fighting family of the person's problem. You are fighting insurance. You are fighting demotivation on other employees. And people can see. So what exactly is your gain in all of this as an employer? But you really cannot also blame the employer, because sometimes they have people in the system that are either afraid to share some of these insights with them.
True. I think another thing is the fear that you have just mentioned.
So you have a problem. I used to tell myself that once I feel like I am in a system where all my ideas are not being listened to, they are being shut down. And by ideas, I mean you are backing it up with facts. You are not just going as a people leader or a business leader to tell the owners of the organization, like to say, I feel like, or I think, I want us to know. Your job is not emotional. It's not feeling based. You are backing it up with facts. And if they still don't listen, then my dear, it's time for you to pack your bags and move on. You are not a tree. You are not rooted somewhere that you cannot move. So take your load and move. It's very important.
I wanted to still dig this hole, but for the sake, I want us to touch a lot of things within this episode. Is it true that Africa as a continent, and let me say Nigeria specifically, is experiencing a brain drain due to the jackpot crisis? Is that really true, or is it just something that is being propagated on social media?
In reality, and sadly to admit, yes, it's happening, and it's happening in our very eyes, especially for occupations that are highly technical. So the country, Nigeria now, is going through some economic crisis or interesting turn in the economy. So we have quite a lot of people that they are not being adequately compensated for the efforts they put in the job. So let me use a very clear example. In fact, nowadays, when I go to the hospital, I'm scared. I am very scared, because growing up, going to school, and up to now in my career, if I count 10 of my friends or family doctors that I had used, if I pick 10 of them, we probably have just one left in Nigeria as of today. And that begins to bother me. I was in the hospital with my kids not long ago, and I met this very brilliant nurse, a guy. And I was talking to him, and immediately I'm like, interesting. Engaging him, you could tell that he's very smart. I just told him, when are you leaving the country? And he smiled. He was like, why? But by the time we engaged and all, in the next 1 month, he should be out of this country. So that shows that the best hands, our talents are living on a day-to-day basis. So there's now a tilt. Your recruitment standards are being lowered. So if you ask organizations in Nigeria now, and if they are being sincere with you, I, in my experience, am experiencing it, and I've spoken to colleagues are experiencing the same. If you interview for a role, God help you that you are even able to find great candidates in your first round of the interviews. It's one of two things. You are either unable to afford them due to also the economic situation's impact on your own organization, or before you are even able to close out on them, another organization is snatching them, eventually leading to you being unable to afford them. The ones you now are able to afford are not at the competency level you typically have gone for. So, for example, if you typically have an organizational policy to say that we only hire people that score a minimum of 75% in the recruitment process, by the time you are done with your recruitment, people that score 75% and above, their demand in terms of compensation will be usually almost 100% higher than what you have budgeted for that role. In case where they are not, you need to be certain of their reason for wanting to join the organization and why they are not leaving. I've hired superb candidates. They came on board. We were able to hire them, and about 6 months down the line, they tell me I'm relocating. So they already had relocation in the works. So it was not just that you just found a shiny object and you just quickly jumped on it. If they are not relocating, the next available highest bidder is snatching them from you. So HR now, you need to begin to think and rethink that, how do I keep the talents that I have, especially if you don't have a deep pocket? What other EVP, what other value propositions am I putting in front or on the table? For example, you cannot be an employer that you don't want your people to go on leave. You want them to resume early, close late. You are paying a salary that does not take them to the bus stop, and you want them to stay. Is that not witchcraft? Would it happen? No. So that's why tech companies, for example, if you are looking at the metrics for tech company, they don't dwell so much on attrition rates or employee turnover rates in tech companies, because soldier go, soldier come. Because there's one, talent mobility. The same software engineer you're trying to fight for in Nigeria, a company seated in Silicon Valley is also trying to hire that same person. And I don't care what you are offering.
And they will underpay him. They will underpay him from there.
So it's
but
cheaper.
It will
it's
be overpaid
for you in Nigeria. So a company in abroad,
it's cheaper label for them.
Yes.
But it's overpayment here.
Yes. A company in Silicon Valley can have a budget of $10,000, maybe $10,000 or something over there. But they say, let me go hire a superstar in Nigeria. Offer this person 5K. 5K is a lot of money. A Nigerian company cannot likely match that. And they are required to work from their house. They are not fighting for boss in Uju-Elegba. They are not.
Do you know the worst? They will move them to Dubai.
Yeah,
the worst is they will move them to Dubai.
And go and make them have some few good times. So you are competing with trouble. So eventually, some Nigerians will say, "Oh, I can't fight this war," especially if you don't have deep pocket. So you see that you are looking for other things as value proposition to attract this talent, or you just rest and say that I will hire in the middle category and train them or upskill them to the level that I want.
What my power can take.
Yeah, so you pick your strategy, but is it happening right before our very eyes? Every single day, one of my prayers as an HR leader is when an employee calls me or sends me a message, "Hi Adewunmi, can I see you when you get to work?" Or "When are you free to jump on a call?" I'll first of all go like, God, especially if you're one of my superstars. In my mind, I'm like, God, I beg. Because where do I want to start from? God I beg. But people will say,
Because they're even and they're
then you
difficult to
pay
find.
them. Yes, people say if you don't want them to go, then you pay them so much. How do you define
Nah.
so much? Competition for talent is ridiculous, especially your company is also a Nigerian company that is also going through the same crisis.
The same crisis, the same inflation. And what people don't understand is it becomes a circle.
Yes,
Because if I'm paying more, it means my cost of production has gone high.
absolutely.
So what I would do is that I'm going to increase the cost of my services. And now you have to pay more for what you would have gotten cheaper,
And if you are not
because now my cost
careful,
of
what is happening in a lot of fintech startup companies in Nigeria now is, so you do all of that drama. It's a circle. And 6 months down the line, then you see in the news, something company lays off, does a massive layoff, does a this layoff. Because all of these things are adding up. They're adding
yeah,
up.
because they can't even keep up. They
Exactly.
can't keep up.
So it's a lot.
See, it's something that I've heard, and I so quickly. What are the common errors that people make when applying for a job?
You see, this question, we can be here for God knows when. So there are so many of it, but they are in segments, right? But the first part I always like to start this answering this question from is people don't even know what kind of job they should be applying for. If I got $1 for each time somebody reached out to me to say, "Hi, ma'am, I'm looking for a job," and I say, "Oh, what kind of job?" You say, "Any job. I just need a job. I'll probably be a billionaire." You reach out to me to say you want any job. What exactly does that mean? Are you looking for an MDCO job or a cleaner job? So they don't even have clarity when it comes to their career. And once that foundation is faulty, every other thing is a problem.
That's the start. Everything
You don't
crumbles
know
from
what
there.
you are looking for. So every other thing, I mean, if the purpose of a thing is not known, abuse is inevitable. You yourself don't know the job you are looking for. So how do you begin to decipher which one is good for you, which one isn't good for you, which one will ground your career before it takes off, and which one would help you
They are not
accelerate
thinking of the career.
fast?
They are
They are
so when
thinking of
people
the
ask
money.
that, they are thinking of what to eat. So they are like, how much would they pay? It just reflects, yes, it reflects sometimes that people are unserious, but it also reflects the state of the economy too. That people are hungry and they're just looking for something to survive.
Imagine. Absolutely. So one of the things, if you go a lot on LinkedIn, you will see a lot of protests of people saying, "Oh, I've been hired as a contract staff in this company. I'm also a graduate. Yet they are paying me this amount, but the people hired directly under the training scheme of the company are being paid 300% of what I earn." And part of the ways this thing starts. When I'm hiring for my organization, I have a role, and I've clearly stated in this role that this role has been evaluated to not be a graduate role. I do not want to hire graduates. Then you bring people to interviews, and before you say two things, I tell you, you're a graduate. And they say, the state of the economy. So I had to remove it from my CV. So if I was not able to pick that, then I hire you. You get into the system. You find out how much graduates are earning and how much you are earning. Bearing in mind that you deceived the system because you were desperate for a job. But the noise or the story then
And that
changes.
role was not for a graduate.
But the story then changes to become they hire you as a contract staff, they are paying you peanuts, and this is how much they pay graduates. So there's a bias, there's something in the system, inequality in the system, without giving the full story. But you were desperate at that time. But that's one of the ways people don't even know what they want. They don't have clarity when it comes to their career. The other thing is, what is your strategy in your job search? What exactly is your strategy?
It's bomb every company. That's the strategy. Strategy is send your CV, spread it like Wi-Fi.
So when people reach out to me, one of the things I ask is, before I say, man, I have a problem, I've been looking for a job 10 years, I've not found a job, blah, 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 blah. Root cause. Root cause is very important. Is it a case that you have been applying, no interviews, or you've been interviewing, no job, or you've not been seeing jobs to apply to? There are stages of this problem. And every stage has its own solution. I've not been seeing jobs to apply to. Where are you looking? I've been applying, nobody is interviewing me. How are you applying? You will see simple instruction where you say, for manual application, say, send your resume to this email using the job title as the subject. Then you send the email and your job title is, please help me. Oh, forgetting that. Forgetting that the person that told you to use that job title, probably they have the emails that are coming in. So when they want to start the recruitment process, they sort that email using that job title.
They have a system that just picks it out. So you are lost within the system.
You are never found. So how is that anybody's fault? In fact, this one is not even your village people's fault. It's your fault.
It's coconut head. They don't use the year word.
Do you know the number of bank statements that has been uploaded as CVs in recruitment that I have seen? Or NEPA bills? Or ridiculous things. So you have even screened yourself out before the process started. So you found the job for you. You applied.
There's even typo in your CV.
Typo. Somebody can even decide to forgive typo. But I didn't even. Or you put a password to your resume. Come on now. What is wrong with you? So there are stages to these problems. Oh, let's say
the village people are strong.
Absolutely. That's all. Absolutely. Or then you are invited for you scale through all of that. I'm not even going to touch on the content of resume. You sent me, I think one of the most interesting experience I've had. I've gotten a resume of 42 pages. Come on. Why?
42 pages.
An average recruiter, when they pick your resume, the very first time we look at resume, we take less than 10 seconds to decide if you've been or you want to look at it again. Somebody has maybe 400 CVs that came in and they want to look at it manually. You say, oh, why don't they automate it? I tell you for free as an experience, sometimes looking at it by yourself even is of more advantage to the applicant than using an automated system. An automated system wants to tell it only shortlist people that have A, B, C, D, E. That's it. So if you have the A, B, C, D, E, but the way you wrote it, you wrote your A, B, C, D, E using italics, or you wrote it in a different way, but it means the same thing. It's a system, garbage in, garbage out. It screens you out. But if a human being is looking at it, then they'll say, oh, okay, you didn't write it this way, but it means the same thing. And they move you around. So both have advantages and disadvantages, right? But the very first time, make an impression. I pick your resume up and I'm seeing 42 pages. And the first 3 pages are telling me about your local government, how you are married, your date of birth, where you went to primary school for a senior level role. Why? How does that benefit me anyway?
It's a thesis.
So there are several legs to these problems. Or you then you even scale through, you move to the interview stage. I, for one, the very first interview, most of my interviews are virtual because I just feel like I don't even know if I'll hire you yet. So why do I want you to spend money on transport, go through the whole headache?
Stress you. Because you even have to either take off from work and all that. So.
Yes, and have to cook up a lie you want to tell your boss. I'd rather do a virtual call and I keep it short. And I keep it short, right? Then you show up on the virtual call and you have air bonnet on your head. Or you are putting on singlets. I have seen these things. If I wasn't working in HR and somebody tells me these stories, I'll go like, come on now. On my Instagram page.
If you like, wear boxers, but wear shirts. Let's just.
I used to share some of these things on my Instagram page back in the years, because some people will feel it's a lie. But I just occasionally pick the very ridiculous ones and share so that people learn and see that these things happen for real. You come to the interview, you are all over the place, or you are late to a virtual interview. There are just some things that we've not even started addressing your competencies. Some things are just, you are being tardy or just being something else. We've not started addressing, do you have the skills? You've screened yourself out. So the resume you're even applying with, some people use the same CV. Yes, it's good. I tell people you have a master CV. Your master CV is your standard CV. Then for some jobs, you need to tailor. And but at least you have a master CV, then you tailor. But some people's resume, when you open it, in that same resume, you cannot decide if this person wants to be a sales professional or a customer service person or an HR person or a product developer. You are confused.
And so you see this thing that you mentioned, it happens. I want to believe I'm guilty.
Confession time.
You know why? Because if you're not careful, you keep adding all your skills into your CV, and you don't need to.
That's where it comes to tailoring your resume.
See, thank God that you're saying this. Me, I learned this the hard way, but
so I have a master resume, and I have other resumes. Okay, and that doesn't still mean that when some opportunities come, I won't still say, okay, let me tweak this, put this before this, or downplay this and scale up this, or retell the story.
So I think the problem is our strategy. I'm putting myself in this, is spread it abroad. So you are just spreading it. Anything that falls within the line. So what you are talking about now is one has to have a strategy for applying.
Absolutely.
And in that strategy now, you tailor CV to the role. And there's this thing in Nigeria. I'm saying it because I can only speak for a Nigerian and because I'm one. Is that you feel it's a thing of prestige, writing all your qualifications, and bro, they are looking for this kind of person. If you like, tell me you've been to the moon. It doesn't add to the value that I need. I won't say, oh, if I even invite you for the interview, maybe I just want to hear, how was your moon experience? Oh, that's good. Oh, and I just want to go on my Instagram and say, imagine I met somebody that went to the moon today.
That's where some employers actually request for cover letter. Although I hate cover letters, but the essence or the importance of cover letters is it gives you an opportunity to tell your story. Because some people's CV, you cannot understand the story. You cannot understand the brain behind it. For example, maybe you were, let me pick a role, you're a quality assurance person or something. Then when you saw that the job for quality wasn't coming forth very quickly, you decided to say, let me follow the tech wagon. Then you decided to go and do a course in data analysis or something like that along that line.
Or Scrum.
Then, yes, you now got a job that is in that quality that you studied or you wanted to do, and you apply. Then you apply with a CV that has all of those things. You were given an opportunity for cover letter, but you just wrote it, or just let ChatGPT write something for you. And the purpose of a cover letter in this picture is where you showcase the synergy between those two skills that you have. So you can tell a story. I tell people your cover letter is an opportunity for you to tell a story your resume cannot tell. So you can say that a reason why you decided to go study data analysis, even though that is not true, even though the truth is you just followed it, looked at that and quickly fetch you a job, but it didn't happen. But you can tell another story to say that you realize that in the quality space, people are just fixated on quality of that item or that product at that time. Nobody is following the trend using data. But you felt that it was a unique skill if you could use your expertise in data analysis to not only to merge it with your skills and quality, to say that while I am looking at assessing the quality of this product or service right now, I am also using my data analysis skills to study the trends and the pattern that would help me make an informed decision. That story will be told in your cover letter, but no, you left the cover letter for ChatGPT, or you didn't even upload anyone, you just moved on.
So ChatGPT, your cover letter is your opportunity to talk a good game and sell yourself.
Yes, absolutely.
But it's not our fault. We just put the CV and tell ChatGPT, write a cover letter for this role based on this.
But you can also still use ChatGPT to achieve the purpose. But the issue is most of us are too lazy. We just leave it and go. But you can still tell ChatGPT to say,
leaving it to chance.
Yes, I have studied this. I have also done that. This is what I want to apply for. Can you help me find the nexus, the connection between A and B, and use it to tell a convincing story in this cover letter? ChatGPT will still do it.
You see, now I have a role for you. AI prompter. AI engineer engineering prompting. Because you see, really, I think it just comes down to being intentional when you are searching for a job. Don't just leave it to, don't just bomb and throw it. Be intentional.
I tell people most of the time that searching for a job is a job in itself. When you were in a job, you wake up 7 o'clock, get dressed, and go to the office, and you are there till this time. When you're also looking for a job, you wake up that same time, you show up at your workstation, and you begin to search and apply for jobs, and you will do it the same way it's a job in itself. The conversion rate.
On the phone, you have your CV. That's why we are sending you NEPA bill and sending you. It's on our phone. So you're on the bed and you're doing like this.
So yes, there is a connection factor. There can be a favor factor and all those other things. But you need to be intentional about things. Intentional. So many times I'm getting DMs on LinkedIn. Ma, help me. Ma, help me. I'm looking for a job. I would love to work with you. Which value? What value do you... Value attracts value, right? What is the value you are putting forward? With the number of... If I show you the DMs of number I'm looking for a job. But there'll be some that the way they've even written it is like they've told you that whether I like it or not, you need me. So even if you are not actively thinking about that role, and let me bust your brain, right? Gen Zs are killing it when it comes to being able to tell their story and position themselves carefully and intentionally in the world of work. And I am not going to be surprised. I have already started seeing it at the waves and the revolution they are already making in the world of work. The way they are telling their story, because they are the technology gurus and they are using it to their advantage. They are telling their story. I used to tell people that
they are the copywriters, they are the storytellers, they are the creators. And
if I can redo my career and so many things all over again, you see 300 level students actively seeking mentorship, actively seeking career readiness programs, and yet you see people that are old school apé and they are not making a move, expecting things to fall on their lap. I have people interns that I've hired in my organization, most of them came from LinkedIn because they made themselves stand out. One looked for me on LinkedIn, found himself on my Instagram page, found himself somehow in my email, and was connecting the dots. If I make a post today or put out the content tomorrow, he will go and summarize that content, link it to one content I had shared 3 months ago, connect it together, and come and tell me what he had done with that information in his life. And now that was a game changer for him. So I didn't have a choice I was able to identify him from the crowd. True. He served with us, went for NYSC, was reaching out after the internship. When he went for NYC, he reached out again. Hi, Mama, I've been posted to this place. Unfortunately, I'm not in Lagos, so I can't come. But Mama, I have one very good person, one of my friends, studied this, finished with the first class, very smart, was able to score interviews for his friend. Because during the internship that he came for, he worked like he was a full-time employee. Was committed, knew all the navigations and all of that. He would come from his department to my department to say, hi, ma'am. Oh, I see these projects that your department is planning. If you're looking for volunteers to do cross-functional projects with, my work is much, but I'll be willing to get involved. I'll be willing to support, even if it takes some of my time. It's a form of office politics, but it's required.
It's the game. It's the name of the game, too.
So if that kind of person, if he finishes NYC, he already has access to me with everything he has done. So easily, if he calls me up to say, I would do it. Even if I don't have a role, I will reach out to my network and say, I have this solid guy. Please help me place him. So Gen Zs are killing it when it comes to all of those things. We millennials, a number of us, we are in our shell, couch potato.
God help us. See, I noticed that. You see, we are the ones that don't comment. We are the ones that don't even like posts. We are the ones that don't share posts.
Absolutely.
And you want to reach the person and you're sliding into the person's DM and the person is like, I don't even know you. Honestly. You've not contributed to my life in any way. And it's difficult because I think it's a thing with, I think it's also the way we were raised, and it's also a bit of ego and pride.
Absolutely.
In the mix. But if you need something, go at it. Setting a goal. You know this is where you want to go. put yourself in 6 months trajectory of bombing, going to the comment sections, sharing, adding value to the person. You hear the person is coming to this place. Oh, how can I be part of this? How can I do this? Connection, gain access. The way you were talking about it, access, that the guy has access. And access is sometimes the most valuable thing that you can have.
Absolutely.
To have the ear of somebody that can change your life, or that can put you on a trajectory to change your life. We've been talking for a long time.
Absolutely.
And it's been a very great conversation. So that I can let you go, one thing I want to ask is, has there been any case, or does fate play a role in people looking for jobs and all that? Has fate played a role, or does it play a role?
So I am a faith-based person, right? I am faith-led, faith-driven. And I can say that so many times it has made a difference. I have a very interesting example that I can use, and before I use myself. So we had interviewed this candidate amongst other candidates, and we KIV'd him. We wanted to hire 2 people, hired one, KIV'd him, and we had moved on. Most of the time when we KIV people, events just passes, and we never circle back. There's never a vacancy, nobody just remembers, and it just moves. But aside from that, this guy was following up with the hiring manager. After the whole interview process, and we went back to say, with KIV'd you, if there's any opportunity in the future, we'll come back. Most of us will move on from there, right? He went to look for the hiring manager on LinkedIn. Everybody that interviewed him in the process connected with them, sent follow-up reminders and all of that. And 8 months down the line, the hiring manager reached out to me to say, sent me a message by 6 a.m. in the morning to say, can you talk this morning? I'm like, 6 a.m. So, and when I woke up and I was like, I couldn't sleep. This guy's name was on my mind. I'm like, hello? He was like, I could not sleep. This guy's name was just on my mind. Why didn't we hire him again? We had to revisit the case. And that conversation just started. Like, we didn't even still have that role open. But it was both physically and spiritually top of mind that a role opened up in 3 months. And we made an offer.
It's like the Mordecai story. The king could not sleep.
Aside from that, so someone like myself, I'll call myself an introvert, right? I just want to be in my space. So when I have an interview or I have a speaking engagement, I'm just always nervous and all of that. But a going strategy for me, one of my friends had one that asked me that, an introvert like I said, how do you do it? In fact, it's so bad that an hour before I have sweaty palms, my tummy is rumbling, I'm going in and out of the toilet. But since the moment I activated, once I start feeling that my palm is getting sweaty, just burst into tongues. And I am going to keep it up like that. Immediately I step into whatever room it is, it will just feel like a part of me gets unleashed. So when I mention I'm an introvert, all of them go like, ow, how are you an introvert?
But you came in with glory.
Yeah, so it has always worked for me. And the same way the Bible says the acts of kings are in the hands of God. So you need to, I don't know how every other person does it, but activate that aspect. If you're a faith-based person, yes, before things happen, you will see them before they happen. Whatever career plan you have, it's beautiful for you to develop a career plan, for you to work out, this is what I'll do, this is. We've had cases whereby the Holy Spirit will tell you no. I've had offers that had come to me and the Holy Spirit will say, do not take this job. I have resigned with an offer in hand and the Holy Spirit told me resign, but this is not where you are going. But that's the only place I interviewed. And I've already resigned. How come it's not where I'm going? Am I going to become an housewife? But the Holy Spirit kept on telling me the job you are going to take has not come yet.
Yes.
The resumption date of the new job, a day to it. I said, Baba God, what's going on? The Holy Spirit said, do you trust me? It was that night the company that took the offer came on board. I was able to negotiate times 100% on that other job I had accepted. And everything, the interviews, everything happened. Everything I was going to be asked in the interview, the Holy Spirit told me ahead of time. I've seen cases where somebody wears an outfit to an interview. Immediately the candidate showed up. I'm like, Baba God, how are you wearing this color to the interview? and the candidate was asked to sit down at the lounge. The executive that was going to interview this candidate stepped into the office wearing the exact same outfit. And that was the talking point. Half of the interview was based on the outfits. And he got the job.
Got the job, bro.
So just being led by the Holy Spirit is a major game changer. I've gotten disappointments. Maybe I applied to one of these multinational, let me not use their name. The G and the M kind of people. The big G's and the M kind of people. And I was so into it. The process, everything was going on smoothly. And I was so excited. I was so happy. Then I got the bomber. Boss, we are sorry to tell you, you are no longer blah, blah, blah.
Unfortunately.
Tell me why 6 months from that email, they are letting people go. And in the world of work, if you know, it is first in, last in, first out. I would have been caught in that wave. And probably now be stuck, be depressed, I don't have a job, and all of that. Immediately it happened, I would have gone, but the Holy Spirit reminded me, now you understand why. So when you were crying like a chicken, this is why. So it's very important.
We as faith people must know that we don't change in the workplace. We go in there based on who we are, and we go there to dominate because of what we have.
Absolutely. We don't conform. You let your light shine. Even though you are the only one. Even though you are the only one, and sometimes you are unable to convince the entire organization. I tell people your role is most of the time not necessarily to convince people. Your role might just be to shine the light. Show them, so that when anything now happens, they'll say, oh, she said it, but we went a different direction. And yes, in the world of work, it's not now that, okay, they went a different direction. You now say, oh, it's them versus me. You're a part of the organization. You win with them, you lose with them. But let it be clear. Yes.
Yeah. And the next time it happens, there's track record.
They will listen to you. Yes. And let it not just be a Christian bias. You are joining this one by 8 a.m. You are joining that one by 9 a.m. You are joining this one by 100, and all
this
of those
table,
stuff.
This
Let's
table
not
that
break
you want
it,
to remove the leg.
It is not by that. It is not by that. I mean, for those of us that have very difficult jobs, like those of us in HR, you still need to do. Have you ever fired your friend? Some of us have had to do it. It is the job you have been hired to do. But where your role as a child of God comes in, when people say office politics, should a child of God play office politics? That's a different topic on its own. Because everywhere you go to, politics is being played.
There's politics,
even in the church.
In life.
Your role as a child of God is to navigate. In fact, your role is even more political as a child of God, because your role of shedding light to every dark area, it means you're actively involved in that politics.
Preach it, man.
If you are not carrying the torchlight to where there is darkness, and you are saying, let me stay away from the politics, let the darkness continue to dominate, your light is useless. Your role is to carry that light and go to the dark corners and begin to flush out the darkness. So you are at the center of that politics, to right it, to make it to be done right. It is your role to ensure that, because if nobody is fighting for the right thing to be done, then evil will continue to take its toll, its place. So if you are not in rooms that allow you to speak up against injustice, to say, no, this treatment is not fair, or let's do this way as against this way. If you are not in that room, because you are not office politics and a child of God, then you don't even have a business being there. The reason why Christians, we consistently praying for Christians to be in important rooms so that they can influence. We pray those prayers in church, but we don't know that we are actually praying for office politics or God, or politics in general. Let's say our people, Christians, are in influential roles. They are able to influence decisions for Christ. How are you influencing decisions for Christ when you are not in the politics? You are not in the room where a game is being played. It's just, I used to describe office politics as a game of chess. Everybody is on the table. Are you the player or you are the one being played? It's up to you to then decide. Are you a pawn or you are the chess master? Which one are you?
Are you a player or you are the one being
played? You need to just decide.
Hashtag.
You need to decide. But if you are a child of God, your light is important in those rooms. When they know that once Adewunmi is in this room, once Timi is in this room, we won't be able to do this hanky-panky we want to do. If I don't say, Madam Policy, Madam Fairness and Equity, Madam Balance, or Madam Policy.
And it's good. Take those labels.
Fantastic.
Own them. Take it as a breastplate.
In one of my previous jobs, an employee felt he was terminated wrongly. And that period I was on maternity leave. And when he came back to the office, he ended very messy because he was terminated. Blah, blah, blah. At the beginning of the disciplinary process, I was on it, but I had to go for mat leave. So somebody else replaced me. When he came back to sign some things together, he was like, and I was really scared because he was confrontational with people based on what I heard. When he saw me, he was like, Madam, I know that if you had been on that panel, things would not have turned out the way it turned out. Honestly speaking, if I was on that panel, things would have turned out the way it turned out because he was guilty. But he had the faith that I would have been fair. I would have ensured
because
fairness.
Of your person and because of how you have lived up to that reputation.
Absolutely, but he would have still been terminated.
Oh God, no, this has been all I thought it would be. I want to thank you. I want to ask you if there's anything that you can remember, any mistake you've made in this your line of work in your past, that if you could change it, you would. If there's one thing that you think, I could have done this better, and you don't mind sharing.
So I won't say there is one thing. I think for me, there is a baggage that I always go everywhere with. And sometimes it can be too much of an heavy burden. And that's me having to balance the fair or the stern part of me, being able to balance it with empathy. So I am a dot your I's, cross your T's, detail-oriented person. I am a give your all to everything you're doing. But because of that kind of person that I am, and I always want to feel like, when I see people that I'm like, push, do more, you can be more. I sometimes carry that burden or the guilt that, are you not driving these people too hard? Are you not using your own standards to judge people too much? So sometimes, as a check and balance, sometimes when I'm like, why has this not been done? What are we looking at? Let's get this sorted. Which is my person. The Holy Spirit, I beg the Holy Spirit to always try to remind me to say, take a step back. Where the empathy heart. This person is not you. They don't have the skills you have. They may not be dealing with the things you're dealing with. They may not have grown as much as you have grown. So extend grace to them. Extend grace.
I was just about to say extend grace, but I didn't want to cut you.
Extend grace. So I've had people that will feel like, oh, she was too hard on me, blah, 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 blah. I have a particular case like that. A person worked with me, felt like, oh, there's nothing I did, blah, blah, blah. The journey was going perfectly well from where I sat, but I mean, out of nowhere, I issued the person a query and they were like, oh, me, you issued me a query, your own is even too much, you're too harsh, your standard is too high. And that whole experience didn't end well. Because, the person decided to leave and all of that. And yes, while every other person in the organization saw it like, yes, now good for good riddance to bad nonsense, I still felt like, could there be something I could have done better? Could there be, maybe I drove this person too hard? Maybe not everybody wants to be more. Maybe so I constantly walk in that consciousness. Although at the same time, when I meet people I've worked with in the past, or when people send messages to say, I am where I am because of you, I am doing this because of you.
You say it was because I was hard.
But at the same time,
balance to it.
Yes. So that's one thing. That particular incident is something that has lived with me or still lives with me, and sometimes it helps me check myself to say, maybe you should slow it down. Not everybody is you. Extend grace and all of that.
Extend grace. Thank you very much, Adewunmi. It has been a pleasure to have you. I remain Oluwatimileyin Ayekiton, and I want you people to go to our Instagram page. Go and follow her on Your HR Lady. We'll put it on the screen here. Please follow this program. If you have watched to this point, you know that you got value. You can go to the description. You will see our Instagram handle. You will see we're on TikTok. We are on Twitter. We are everywhere. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, tell somebody about it. And let's have the conversations in the comment section also. Thank you all for watching. God bless you. And thank you to our guest again.
you know.